Hey, what's up? It's Bon. Let's talk about the Sony PlayStation Showcase. First, if you like Sony PlayStation, if you like video games, news, speculation, updates, reviews, subscribe to the channel, like this video if you do, leave your comments down below. Let me know if you like the showcase. Let's get into it. I'm going to hit all of the highlights here. This is the IGN Showcase Roundup by Logan Plant on IGN. Spider-Man. I have a controversial take right off the hit here. I thought this looked very mediocre. The gameplay looks amazing. Everyone loves gameplay of Spider-Man. Miles Morales, I have no doubt that it's going to be fun. I thought graphically, especially because I believe this is a current gen only game, I thought it looked really bad, actually. I was watching it over a Twitch stream, which is only 6,000 kilobits, compressed. Maybe that took away from it. But I thought the materials, even in these screenshots, if you look at them, I think this looks kind of terrible, actually, to be totally honest. It's weird. Yeah, I don't know. I was very surprised, but I'm sure it's going to be fine. This is going to be one of the biggest games this year. It's going to be tons of fun. The addition of Venom and all of the powers that come along with that do seem kind of interesting. So I'm sure it'll be fine. I don't think this is going to be as impressive as people may have expected it to be, though, especially graphically. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater Remake announced. So this is really cool. This is in a string of multi-platform games that ended up being the most exciting parts of this showcase, which isn't a bad thing. It's just surprising. This looks really cool. It's Metal Gear Solid 3. It's, we see some of the updated graphics and stuff here. I'm very excited for this. I never played this one. I have played 1, 4, and 5. I never played 2 or 3. And I'm excited to. So this is also supposed to be coming along with this Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1, which implies they're going to do more. And it's going to include the first Metal Gear, 2, and 3. So I'm really excited about that. I never got a chance to play 2 or 3, and I'm sure whatever kind of modernization of 1 they do will make it pretty cool as well. This thing is a turd. I'm just going to say it right now. It's a streaming tablet with controllers on it. Now, to be honest, it does have the advantage of 1 being part of their atmosphere, part of their ecosystem. It does have all of the DualSense controls in the controllers. So where you can buy the attachments for tablets and stuff, these are going to be better. They're going to have the good controls, right? It'll probably be pretty well made. Sony makes good hardware. And the screen is really big. It's an 8-inch screen, where most of your phones and even tablets and stuff are going to be smaller than that or more awkward. It's still just a streaming device, though, and all it's doing is running your games on your PS5, and you're just receiving the picture. So it's going to be laggy. It's not going to be ideal. This is not a Steam Deck competitor. This is not an ROG Ally competitor. And I bet it won't be that much cheaper than those things. I bet this will be $300. And they're going to charge that much because they know people will pay it. Maybe $250. But it'll probably come with 3 months of their Game Pass competitor. But I think it was kind of a turd, if I have to be totally honest. I don't think that this is a big deal, but it'll probably sell okay because it's a Sony product. They also showed some earbuds, which I'm sure will be fine, but they're just earbuds. And then Assassin's Creed Mirage, another multi-plat game. This looked really cool. This is the game that's been rumored for a long time to be a return to old school Assassin's Creed. It actually began as a Valhalla DLC, and they decided to make it a full game. And I thought it looked really good. I think it does look like the throwback to the old school Assassin's Creed that they've said. but we're gonna have to see what actually happens. But I was really impressed by this one, really enjoyed it, as well as Alan Wake 2. So for a lot of people, the original Alan Wake game and its DLC that came out are pretty legendary. I never played them, but I have watched 1 or 2 playthroughs of it. It is very cool. This will be a fun kind of game to get in a modern release, and it's coming relatively soon, October 17th. This could be like one of those sneaky games that hits, and I'd be really curious to see how it goes. Graphically, it looked really good. Remedy is a great developer, and yeah, another multi-plat, another good-looking game. We have an exclusive here. It's a third-party exclusive, but an exclusive nonetheless. Final Fantasy 16 got another trailer. The previews of this game have been really positive. People seem really excited about it. Some reviewers I know are like diehard tiers of the Kingdom fans who are very, very sure that game's gonna win Game of the Year, have relented and said that this game does seem like it could compete. So I'm really excited to see how this hits. This is gonna be a PlayStation exclusive, and eventually we'll have a PC port. But eventually is a keyword there. Dragon's Dogma 2. I never really knew much about the first game. I know it's pretty highly regarded. This looked really good. It kind of looked like a Skyrim, Dragon Age kind of bunch of stuff put together. It looked awesome. Another multi-plat game. And the fact that it's on the RE engine, the same as the Resident Evil games, the newer ones, which just look so good, makes this pretty exciting. At least graphically, it should be great. And I've seen pretty much general praise for this. This looks really fun. Again, another multi-plat game. Bringing back Marathon with Bungie. We knew that they were working on their own game, separate from Destiny. We've been hearing those rumors for a long time, and those rumors came to fruition during this announcement. This looks really interesting. It's supposed to be an extraction shooter, kind of like Tarkov. I imagine this will have a lighter feel to it than Tarkov does, which is very grindy and very try-hard and things like that. A unique thing here is that this is still multi-platform, even though Sony owns Bungie, because at least the arrangement, as I'm aware, is that Sony owns Bungie. Bungie still self-publishes, still has control over their own creativity, and Bungie, I guess, is not technically a PlayStation studio. They are a Sony studio. So I'm sure PlayStation will get some perks, but they seem pretty determined to continue doing their own thing, just under different leadership. If you followed Bungie, basically ever since they left Xbox, they've done this. They don't want to give up too much, but they definitely want help funding. So good for them. Their Destiny product has earned them that right. Another look at Street Fighter 6. I'm not super into fighting games. This continues to look good. I think the story mode looks really bad. I think it looks abysmal, actually. But I have no doubt that the actual fighting and what this game actually is going to be fantastic. Really exciting. This one should be a Xbox or a PlayStation exclusive. This is Jade Raymond's new studio. Haven. Jade Raymond, I believe, was early in was she with the was it Assassin's Creed, I believe. Long story short, I know she's a very highly regarded dev who started her own studio, and this appears to be kind of like a heist game. So I wasn't super into what they were showing, but it was also just mostly CG. We'll have to wait until we see what the actual game looks like. But this was one of the kind of few exclusive games, especially first party, that they showed that look good, even if it's not maybe going to take over the world. Not even going to bother with that one because I don't know anything about it. Foam Stars. So this is a 100% Splatoon Nintendo ripoff. It was bizarre to see this trailer because I thought it was like a parody or a joke at first. Like maybe it was a Fortnite trailer or something, because Fortnite legit just steals from every other popular game and makes their own modes. But then when I realized it was a Square Enix game, and it's not even a Splatoon-like game as it says up here. It looks like it is a straight up ripoff. Looks like it has a more realistic aesthetic. You play as like humans instead of squids, but it seems like a lot of the mechanics and the general gameplay looks like it's going to be basically the same. Splatoon's super popular. Maybe this is a good thing. Definitely interesting. So this one is cross-generation and it is going to be PlayStation only. Plucky Squire, I believe we saw this last year during the summer shows. This is a really interesting looking game. It's got a really cool art style where it's like 2D, 3D. It looks like it's going to be a bunch of different genres basically mixed into one. Very cool looking game, very multi-platform game, something I'm really excited about. Phantom Blade Zero, this one does look pretty awesome. It just has a cool aesthetic. It's definitely a very Sony game aesthetic. I actually don't know. This one doesn't say if it's multi-plat or not. But you know, this is kind of more of what I expected to see. Ghost Runner 2 being this similar idea that I remember I've never played the first game. I've seen a lot of people love it, and it definitely has kind of that feel of that, like, oh yeah, you gotta play this with your DualSense controller because it's got all of the feedback controls and all that. Helldivers 2, I haven't played the first one. This one actually looks really good. I for a second thought this was the Starship Troopers game, but it's not. It's its own thing, but it looks great. This one's gonna be on PS5 and PC, and this is one that I genuinely want to keep an eye out and play it on PC. I believe this Arrowhead is one of the other studios that PlayStation recently acquired, along with Haven. Sword of the Sea. This was a pretty blatant Journey sequel, I thought, but apparently it's not. Apparently it is a whole different thing, even though it has a very similar style. Maybe a little more actiony, a little more action, a little less story, or a little less feels, but it looked really cool. Not necessarily my type of game, but something I thought was interesting. They had a small slew of PSVR games, Resident Evil 4 Remake, VR mode being a big one. The PSVR 2 is pretty heralded as extremely good hardware with nothing to play on it. And having to have the PlayStation and that being over $1,000 together, seems like it's pushing a lot of people away. But, you know, if they put out games for it, people will come. We'll see if this did enough. Another Five Nights at Freddy's game, that's fine. This Neva game looked really interesting. I thought it was Okami at first, like a sequel or a remake or something, but it's not. I believe this is a multi-plat game. I think the Xbox had their little witty tweet about all of these games that are also going to be on their platform. Definitely an interesting take. Cat Quest, just don't know why that was in this showcase, but I guess it was kind of cute. This Towers of Agezaba definitely had some Zelda / Horizon kind of feels to it. It was really interesting. It was not performing well though. This was definitely early gameplay, big time. This Revenant Hill had an interesting style to it. PlayStation exclusive, probably gonna have some feels. Grand Blue Fantasy, I thought for sure was one of the other anime RPG games. I didn't realize this was supposed to be a new game, but that's what it is. This Ultros is it was really interesting. I described it on stream as as an acid trip game, because that's definitely what it seems like, but it was really cool. I think it's a unique one. It almost had like Metroidvania style, like a roguelike feel to it, and I thought, you know, style-wise, it was really, really awesome. Tower of Fantasy, just another one of those PlayStation games that's cool. This PSVR 2 game, this Crossfire Sierra Squad game was interesting. It, at least on the outside, appears like it could be kind of a good shooter for the PSVR 2, but it's really probably gonna need like cross-platform support, and I'm really curious if that will happen. Arizona Sunshine 2, I know the first game is a pretty heralded shooter game for VR platforms in general. The Synapse, we saw kind of a pattern here. A bunch of shooters and Beat Saber, including the Resident Evil game. I just don't think the shooter thing is ever going to be as big of a selling point for VR as people think. And I think it's kind of interesting that it seems like it's almost like a cop out for devs to be like, we can make like a decent shooter game on VR and we'll just go from there. But that's fine. This Concord game didn't really show anything. It had a very like an 80s like synth aesthetic. The trailer reminded me of Arc Raiders. That's why I thought it was for a second. But it was interesting. It had a very jiggly sandwich that it showed here. But we don't really have much to go on with that one. I believe that's going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive and on PC. Immortals of Avium, it's an EA game, or an EA published game at least. Seems like they're kind of trying to do like a shooter style game, but with like a magic aesthetic and all that. I've seen some hype around this. Not really my thing, but definitely an exciting one to see. And that was the gist of it. It was an interesting show. I was surprised we didn't see more Sony first party. We saw Spider-Man 2. It looked fine. We did see some stuff that's going to be exclusive, but I really had an interesting take, or an interesting feel at the end of it, where like as someone who owns an Xbox and doesn't have a PlayStation, this show excited me because so much of it was multi-platform stuff that I think everything I saw that I was personally excited for was gonna come to the thing I own eventually. It was weird. It was very odd. Everyone was expecting something from Naughty Dog. Everyone was expecting maybe something from Santa Monica, from some of these studios that people, even Insomniac, like they showed Spider-Man 2, but people thought maybe we would see something from Wolverine. And the thing I've said is that there's a very real possibility that after Spider-Man 2, the big giant Santa Monica, Insomniac, Naughty Dog, if they may not have games for a while. The games of this current generation are going to take longer than ever, especially as they ditch the last gen and they don't have an excuse for the graphics to not quite be up to snuff. We may not see some, they may not have anything to show for a while. And so it's going to be kind of interesting how PlayStation as a brand and their fans handle if maybe they have a year in 2024, perhaps kind of what Xbox had in 2022, where it was pretty sparse. They pretty much didn't have anything big AAA like first party. They'll have their third party exclusives or just their the games that come to them first, and they'll be fine. And there's already a catalog of amazing PlayStation games to play. I'm not trying to say that Sony is in trouble or anything. They're gonna be perfectly fine. They are doubling up sales of their console over the Xbox. Like, they're fine, but I think that there may be a window here where we see Sony not have like a huge banger in 2024, or at least maybe not for a while. I think it'll be interesting because even if they had something next year, I think we would have seen it today. This is the first showcase in 2 years, and it felt like a big state of play. And I think like if you didn't have Spider-Man in this, I think you would see people being even more negative than they are anyways. I think it was an okay show. There was a bunch of cool stuff here, but if you came here looking for like, I bought a PlayStation, what am I looking forward to? You saw Spider-Man 2, which looks fine. And that was kind of it. And as an Xbox fan, I've been living my last couple of years off of being okay with third-party multi-platform stuff. I'm just surprised that it seems like Xbox and PlayStation may be in a similar situation, at least for a small window here. But I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'm very curious. If you like this video, please like it. If you want more of this stuff, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you back for another video. You can find me all over the internet as Bond Diesel. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Twitter, on Twitch, and right here on YouTube, of course. I do have a weekly gaming news and speculation podcast called The EchoCast. It's on all podcast platforms. It's also right here on this YouTube. You can check that out every weekend, basically. And that's all I have for this one. So until next time.